I can't leave until this is straight. You know, I can't go until y'all really know what time it is.
For nearly 3 decades, the world has lived with one story about Tupac, a Vegas drive-by, 6 days in the hospital, then gone. Case closed. But now, Tupac's own brother has stepped onto Piers Morgan's stage, calmly dropping a bombshell. He claims we've been sold lies all this time. And this isn't some random conspiracy voice online. This is family. The man who grew up beside Pac, who knew him better than anyone, staring into the camera with a steady gaze and saying everything we thought we knew might be a lie. And when Piers pushes him about Diddy, about those repeated denials of any role in Tupac's death, he doesn't buy it. Not for a second. He has real doubts. And this time, he's putting them out there for the whole world to hear.
Say that day when he called you.
You know, I have my guys with me, Thug Life guys, and we heard what he had to say. He basically said he ain't have nothing to do with my brother's murder.
Back in 2008, Mapp told Diddy something chilling. The truth always comes out. That same year, Diddy even picked up the phone, calling the family, insisting he was innocent. But now, nearly 2 decades later, Prem Shakur is sitting on national TV, looking straight into the lens and saying, "We're gonna see what the real truth is." This isn't speculation. This is a brother who lived it, who clearly knows more than he's saying. You can see it in his eyes. He's holding back pieces of a much bigger story. And ask yourself, if your brother was murdered and you really believed the official version, would you go on air questioning everything? Of course not. You'd want peace. You'd want to move on. But Prem isn't moving on. 30 years later, he's still demanding answers.
I get the feeling quite strongly that you don't believe Diddy. I don't think you believe a word of it.
Seems like he got a whole bunch of power on him, like absolute power.
Notice how careful Prem is with his words. He's not ranting about conspiracies or chasing wild theories. He's calm, steady, planting doubt with the precision of someone who knows far more than he's saying. And look at the timing. Diddy is now facing federal charges, his empire collapsing piece by piece. Could there be a better moment for family to start speaking out? Nobody's claiming Tupac is alive, hiding away in Cuba. But when his own brother questions the version of events we've all accepted for decades, maybe it's time we start asking questions too. Because if Prem is right, then everything we thought we knew about hip-hop's past is about to be shattered. And it's not the first time. Back in 2008, when the rumors linking him to Tupac's death kept spreading, Diddy himself picked up the phone and called the Shakur family directly.
Boy, Puffy called me, though. Puffy called me back in the day. He called me, he was like, "I just want you to know I ain't have nothing to do with your brother's, you know, I know who you are, but we never met."
Think about it. Innocent men don't usually call a victim's family years later to clear their name. But in 2008, Diddy was so shaken by the whispers that he reached out through radio host Big Boy to arrange a call with Prem Shakur. Imagine that moment. Diddy, surrounded by his team, maybe even lawyers, swearing to Tupac's brother that he had nothing to do with the shooting. But Prem didn't buy it. Not then, not now. His reply was 4 words that cut deep. The truth always comes out. Words that probably still echo in Diddy's mind. And now, look where we stand in 2025. Diddy under federal racketeering charges, mansions raided, insiders talking, and walls closing in. That phone call was meant to silence doubt, to win the family's trust. Instead, it backfired. Prem never believed him. And today, he's on TV saying it plain. Diddy's story doesn't hold water.
Don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there.
If Diddy was truly innocent, why couldn't he just ignore the rumors? Most people accused unfairly move on, but not Diddy. The whispers were growing louder, connections being made, and he knew he had to get ahead of it. So he picked up the phone. The problem is, when you start begging people to believe your innocence, the damage is already done. Prem's warning that the truth always comes out is finally playing out. And now comes the bombshell. For years, Diddy denied any tie to Tupac's murder, but investigators have been sitting on something shocking. Secret police tapes where Diddy's name is mentioned 47 times. 47 times, directly tied to the shooting. And this isn't rumor or hearsay. These are official interrogation recordings with Keefe D, the very man now charged with Tupac's murder.
He looks over, he sees you.
Yeah.
He looks right at you.
Yeah, he looks at me.
Keefe D didn't whisper in some back alley. He sat across from federal agents, tape rolling, and described how Diddy allegedly offered millions for both Tupac and Suge Knight. The files even quote him saying, "I'll give anything for that dude's head." Now think, why would prosecutors keep those tapes sealed for decades if they weren't explosive? Why would Keefe D's words carry enough weight to charge him with murder off his own confession? Here's the haunting part. All while Diddy built his empire, won awards, and spoke about peace, those 47 mentions of his name sat in the dark. And today, with racketeering charges looming and his empire under fire, those old recordings don't look like history. They look like smoking guns. Prosecutors love patterns. If they can prove Diddy's empire is criminal now, what's to stop them from linking it back to the 90s?
Puffy called and said, "Was that us?" And you didn't say nothing.
I didn't say nothing. Yeah, you're right.
There's also, you go into the book, that apparently there was supposed to be $1 million.
Keefe D's chilling accounts of million-dollar hits weren't just idle talk. They were evidence that could tie Diddy to the most infamous unsolved murder in music history. If those tapes ever reach a courtroom, Diddy's story of innocence may collapse faster than his empire. And here's the twist. When federal agents stormed his mansions, they weren't searching for Tupac evidence. They were chasing racketeering and money crimes. Yet deep in his files, they found documents marked with one word: Cuba. For conspiracy watchers, that hit like lightning. Remember, Tupac's aunt, Assata Shakur, has lived in exile there since 1984. And decades of whispers claim Tupac escaped to Cuba. Even Michael Nice, Tupac's ex-bodyguard, swore he smuggled him out. Body swap in Vegas, jet to Barbados, final stop, Cuba, under Castro's protection. Dismissed as insane, Nice vanished before releasing proof. Gone without a trace.
Tupac's legend is that he'd been shot 5 times and survived before that fateful night here in Las Vegas in 1996. And because of that, Tupac's legacy has always been linked to Vegas.
Michael Nice once swore that Fidel Castro himself approved the mission, making Tupac a protected asset of the Cuban government. Wild as it sounds, federal agents later uncovered Cuban references buried in Diddy's own private files. And that changes everything. If Diddy kept records tied to Cuba, it suggests he either knew Tupac survived or was helping cover it up. Why else keep Cuban files unless you're tracking something or someone? For years, Havana locals have whispered about a man with Tupac's build, slipping through alleys, ducking into cafes, disappearing before cameras could catch him. Gray videos, scattered eyewitnesses, and rumors that refuse to die. Stories of a legend hiding in plain sight.
I ain't the killed Tupac, I'm the protected Tupac. Yeah. But at the same time, bitch ass Puffy can give him a mother star, and every rat in the world said he didn't want to kill Tupac.
Here's the chilling thought. If Diddy's files hold Cuban contacts, payment trails, or reports tracking Tupac, we're not just talking about a cover-up. We're talking about a decades-long international conspiracy. Those Cuba files could be the smoking gun proving Diddy knew Tupac survived and helped keep the secret alive. If prosecutors unseal them, the truth could rewrite everything we thought we knew about September 1996. And the official record? It doesn't add up. The coroner's report listed Pat's height and weight wrong. The cremator who handled his body quit the job right after. And the Vegas shooting itself, thousands on the strip after the Tyson fight. Yet no one saw the gunman. no one caught the car. Even Suge Knight, who sat beside Tupac, has hinted for years something's off. In 2014, he told TMZ flat out, "Why you think nobody been arrested? 'Cause Tupac not gone."
Used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice.
Think about Suge's words for a moment. He was in the car, lived through the bullets, and he's hinting Tupac might not be gone. One mistake in a report is easy to dismiss. But raw measurements, vanished witnesses, a cremator retiring overnight, stack it all together and a pattern forms. Either this was the most careless investigation in history, or someone worked hard to bury the truth. And now, with Diddy's empire under siege, those old theories sound less crazy. Prosecutors aren't chasing random crimes. They're accusing Bad Boy Records of being a criminal empire disguised as music. Racketeering, coercion, obstruction, more mob than hip-hop. And then there are the infamous freak-off parties, once dismissed as jokes. Prosecutors now say they were staged events where Diddy allegedly forced people into humiliating acts, filmed them, and used the capes as leverage.
So he saw Pac and took this picture, and it's trending like a on internet.
Think about the psychology. A man at the top of music, allegedly filming and storing leverage on anyone who crossed him. That kind of power doesn't just silence, it controls. If this was happening in the 2000s, what could he have done in the 90s, when the spotlight was dimmer and the stakes higher? Former insiders say saying no to Diddy wasn't an option. Favors became debts, debts became threats. Witnesses vanished. Evidence disappeared. Doesn't that sound a lot like Vegas in '96? Fast forward to now. Federal agents say even today, with modern protections, witnesses in Diddy's cases are disappearing. Victim number 3, gone. If that can happen in 2025, what chance did anyone have in 1996? Maybe Vegas wasn't incompetence. Maybe it was sabotage, fueled by resources and connections deep enough to bury the truth. And if Tupac really did escape to Cuba, hypothetically, it would take in more than luck. It would require a machine. Moving someone like Tupac wasn't a back alley stunt. It would have needed allies, money, and intelligence networks stretching across borders. And in the 90s, Cuba was the perfect stage. Fidel Castro was still in power, openly sheltering American fugitives. Tupac's own aunt, Assata Shakur, had been there since 1984. If Tupac was protected by Havana, then Cuba's intelligence service, the DGI, was involved. And they don't do favors for free. Maybe they wanted money. Maybe influence. Maybe propaganda. Now add Diddy into the mix. If those Cuban files really tie him to this, then it wasn't just a cover-up. It was global coordination. Hospital staff in Vegas, airport security, Cuban officials, intelligence operatives, all keeping silent for nearly 30 years. That doesn't happen unless the price of talking is death. If prosecutors open those files, this won't just be a music scandal. It'll be espionage.